Welcome back to Project 613. Today we will review the final 5 principles of how we determine which instructions of the Torah are counted as part of the 613 mitzvot. And from tomorrow we will actually begin learning the mitzvot themselves. So we are up to principle number 10. That is that we do not count preparatory instructions for a mitzvah as an independent mitzvah. For example, the Torah says that the Jewish people should bring olive oil. That seems to be an instruction. Nevertheless, it is not considered one of the 613. Why? Because it's only a preparation in order to kindle the menorah. So the mitzvah, as one of the 613, is kindling the menorah. Bringing the oil, although they have to do that, that is only a preparation. Therefore, it is not considered part of the count. Number 11. When you have one mitzvah that is made up of many elements, it is only considered one mitzvah. Famous example, on Sukkot we have to bring the 4 kinds. That's made up of a lulav, etrog, hadassim, and aravot. Nevertheless, it's considered one mitzvah to bring all of the 4 kinds, not 4 independent mitzvot. Principle number 12, very similar to this. What happens when the Torah tells us to do a certain act, which a certain mitzvah which is made up of many different specific actions? All of those actions are not considered their own independent mitzvah. Rather, they are considered one general mitzvah. For example, the Torah tells the Jewish people to build a sanctuary, to build a temple. That is a mitzvah in the count of 613. But hang on, in the temple there had to be a menorah, there had to be a table of showbread, there had to be an ark, and all of these the Torah instructs the Jewish people to do. Nevertheless, all of these specific items that were put into the temple, although they were instructed to build them, they are not counted as their own independent mitzvah within the count of 613. Why? Because they are all part of the mitzvah of building a temple. A temple, by definition, has to have all of these elements to it. So there is one mitzvah in the count of 613 to build the temple, and that has many different details to it. Principle number 13 is that we do not count the amount of days that a mitzvah is performed over as separate counts in the count of 613. For example, the Torah says that we should eat in a sukkah for 7 days. We should dwell in a sukkah for 7 days. It is one mitzvah. It is not considered a separate mitzvah for each of the 7 days. Or for example, the Torah says that we should make pilgrimage 3 times a year for Pesach, Shavuot, and Sukkot. That is counted as one mitzvah in the count of 613. It's not an independent one for Pesach, and then another independent one for Shavuot, and another independent one for Sukkot. Rather, it's one mitzvah which is performed over different amounts of time, different amount of days. And finally, the 14th principle is that we do not count punishments that were administered by the Bet Din for individual transgressions as their own independent mitzvot. Rather, the Bet Din has a mitzvah to administer certain punishments, and that the administration of the punishments themselves is considered one mitzvah, but it is not counted independently for every single scenario in which it is administered. That brings us to the conclusion of the principles of how we know which mitzvot are counted, and from tomorrow we will begin studying the mitzvot themselves. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.